Hey, it's Jack. So I made this video in May of 2022 and I posted it to my Facebook, but I realized I didn't post it to this YouTube channel, so I wanted to post it here as well. So from May 31st, 2022, how I accidentally quit drinking.
Hey, it's Jack. Welcome to the first ever edition, maybe the only edition, of Deep Thoughts with Jack Gately. Remember the old Saturday Night Live Deep Thoughts? So I have some notes. Let's do it. All right, so how I accidentally quit drinking. And it was kind of like an accident. I got COVID, the virus, 2 days before Christmas. So yeah, the 23rd, remember I looked at the calendar, I was like, well, this is gonna stink. And it did stink. It wasn't that bad. But like, you know, when you have the flu, you don't want to have anything because like, you know, you don't know whether you don't want to, overload your body like and have it, have to fight a battle on two fronts. So instead of having a nice, drink on Christmas, I'd make a nice Bloody Mary with a couple of shrimps in there, big hunk of bacon. On Christmas morning, I skipped that because I didn't really feel that well. And then New Year's Eve rolled around, and I'm not a big New Year's Ever to begin with, but yeah, I still didn't feel well, so I was like, no, I'm all set. And then January, as soon as January rolled around, I started feeling better, but still tired. And 11 o'clock in the morning would roll around, and I was ready for a nap. So January is one of the busiest, if not the busiest month of the year for me in the real estate school. We also made... and this would be January of 21, so this is like a year and a half ago, a big change in the software that we use. So it's very busy in January of 2021. February rolled around, and all of a sudden, I realized I hadn't anything to drink for 5 or 6 weeks, and now I was completely fine, feeling better, The whole COVID thing was no big of a deal. And I don't want to make a big deal of this. I didn't have a drinking problem. I was just like your average, Irish American from Boston. I like a cold beer on a hot day. And it never really was something that was a major life factor, if you know what I mean. I had a couple of beers on a weekend. Sure, of course. What's wrong with you if you don't, right? And so it wasn't like I had a problem. And trust me, I know the difference because I come from a long line on both sides of my family of varsity level alcoholics. And and so I know the difference. But I just kind of I think more of anything just kind of aged out of it. It just wasn't for me anymore in this confluence of the virus and the busy month of January. It just kind of I started, that came around February. I says, well, let me think about that for a couple of days. So I wanted to share with you kind of the pros and cons of the whole situation here. So first off, pros. Definitely more productive as a person because, in the mid-50s, I don't bounce back the next day like I did when I was 25, so you're not as sluggish the next. You go up, have several 19, 28 beers, and the next day you're hurting. And I don't get hungover anymore. So, that's nice. And definitely the next morning you're up and ready to go. And that's definitely more productive. That's a huge bonus, a pro. And because I work for myself, almost everything I do requires me to have focus, to be able to think straight, to make decisions, especially creatively in terms of how am I going to run the business, where am I going to take the business next. Being able to think clearly and be of clear mind, really super important for my business. All right, some negatives. I don't think I'm having as much fun as I used to. Like, a couple of beers down the beach, that's a good time. And on the other hand, too, I don't think I'm as fun anymore. Like, not as fun anymore for other people. Jack used to be like a little bit more fun, and I'm not as fun anymore. So I think that's definitely a negative. Especially when I would go to an event. I don't do these things very often, but if I was to go to a wedding or some type of event where I don't know people, like they're not family, like a couple of beers can suppress your inner introvert, and give you a little bit more hang time before you kind of feel that itch that, okay, I gotta leave. I'm never really good at events. Like, when I don't know people, I'm awful. I'm awful at events. All right, so disappointments with the whole thing. I thought I had a really high expectation that I'd lose some weight because I'm not drinking these buds. Or Bud Diesels, I guess, as the kids call them. But that didn't happen at all. In fact, I'm pretty much the same weight I was then. And the virus definitely has some factor with that. And the gym's closed to cancel my gym membership. And, I haven't been to the gym in like 2 years. So that's definitely a factor. But I thought like not drinking beer would also make my diet better. But over the pandemic, I don't really think that happened. I think I'm trying to eat a little bit better now. I'm definitely exercising more now. This is in the spring of 22. But like I didn't lose any weight. It was like totally neutral. So there could be some other variables, as we just talked about it, there going on. With one of the things too is I tend to drink more Coca-Cola now instead of beer. Because some things you want a nice carbonated beverage. And moving over to that like raspberry lime polar seltzer thing, that's a hard sell, let me just tell you. So overall, pretty good. Don't put any comments like, I'm glad you kicked the habit, or it's not one of those things. And not to belittle that, because for some people, it can be a really serious issue. But for those of you who are just kind of like casual, I just wanted to share my experiences, and that's probably the end of this edition of Deep Thoughts with Jack Gately. I'm not sure if there'll ever be another edition. We'll see. All right, bye-bye.
And an update from April 2023. Still haven't had anything to drink since, and I feel great. So see you again. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.